The crystal glass trembles slightly in my hand, the condensation cool against my skin. The ice cubes clink softly, a small, insignificant sound swallowed by the muted roar of conversation that fills the ballroom. It smells like lilies and expensive perfume, a cloying sweetness that makes my teeth ache. My sister sits at the head table, radiant in white, her new husband beaming beside her. My mother, seated proudly next to them, clears her throat, tapping a silver fork against her own glass. The sound cuts through the chatter, a signal. Silence begins to ripple outwards from the head table, people turning, smiling expectantly. My own smile feels brittle, a thin veneer over something sharp and fractured deep inside. Her eyes find mine across the linen-draped tables, a brief, assessing glance before she turns back to the room, straightening her shoulders. A knot tightens in my stomach, familiar and suffocating. Here it comes. The performance. The moment where I am measured, found wanting, and quietly, politely, dismissed. It's the air I breathe in this family. I watch her lift her glass higher, the spotlight catching the diamonds on her wrist. The silence is now absolute, the weight of 100 expectant gazes pressing down. I want to disappear, to melt into the expensive carpet, to be anywhere but here, pinned under her gaze, waiting for the inevitable. Where are you listening from? What time is it there right now? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe. It genuinely helps me share these stories more often, and it means the world to me. Thank you. This is my sister's wedding, a day that should be pure joy, uncomplicated celebration. And for her, perhaps it is. For me, it feels like an arena, a stage set for a familiar drama. My role is well rehearsed. The supporting character, the less luminous star, the daughter who chose a different path, one less understood, less approved. Growing up, the script was always clear. Sarah, my sister, was the graceful one, the compliant one, the one who excelled at everything my mother valued: ballet lessons, piano recitals, perfect grades delivered with a modest smile. I was the one with dirt under her fingernails from tinkering with old electronics, the one who preferred books about building things to tea parties, the one who asked too many questions and didn't care enough about fitting in. My mother saw ambition in Sarah. In me, she saw something else. A stubbornness she couldn't break, a disinterest in the life she envisioned for me. It wasn't outright cruelty, not usually. It was a constant, subtle calibration, a quiet disappointment that seeped into the corners of rooms, into the pauses in conversations. It was the lingering silence after I'd share an achievement she didn't deem worthy, the faint praise that felt colder than criticism. It was the way her eyes lit up when Sarah entered a room, a light that somehow dimmed when they landed on me. I built my life away from their mold. I went to a different kind of school, studied things they didn't understand. I met James there. James, who saw the fire in my belly, the relentless drive that my family interpreted as mere contrariness. He saw the architecture of my thoughts, the way my mind raced ahead, building complex structures of code and business models out of thin air. He didn't try to change me. He amplified me. He became my partner, in every sense of the word. We started small, in a cramped apartment filled with monitors and takeout containers. We built something from nothing, piece by painstaking piece. It was hard, relentless work, fueled by caffeine and a shared vision. It was also fueled, if I'm being honest, by a quiet, desperate need to prove them wrong. To prove I wasn't just the other daughter, the one who didn't quite measure up. The wedding invitations arrived months ago, thick cream cardstock announcing Sarah and Thomas's union. A formal script, elegant and traditional. Everything about this day is traditional. The venue, a country club dripping with old money. The guest list, a carefully curated collection of family friends and business associates. My family moves in these circles effortlessly. I move through them like an alien anthropologist, observing strange customs and decoding cryptic social signals. I've learned to smile, to nod, to offer polite pleasantries. I've learned to wear the uncomfortable shoes and the dress that feels like a costume. I've learned to hold my tongue when my aunt asks a little too loudly if I'm still playing on computers. James is a solid presence beside me, his hand finding mine under the table. He knows the history, the texture of the relationships here. He's witnessed the subtle slights, the dismissive comments disguised as concern. He's seen the hurt flicker in my eyes, the way I try to hide it. He doesn't try to fight my battles for me, not usually. He offers quiet support, a grounding force in the swirling anxiety of being back in this world. He respects my process, my need to navigate this on my own terms, or at least appear to. But I know he carries the weight of it with me. His presence is a silent promise. I see you. I value you. You are not what they make you feel you are. My mother clears her throat again, leaning into the microphone. Her voice, when she speaks, is clear and bright, carrying easily across the room. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Catherine, the very proud mother of the bride, a ripple of warm laughter. She beams. She speaks of Sarah's childhood, painting a picture of effortless grace and sweetness. She talks about Sarah meeting Thomas, finding the perfect match, someone from a good family, someone who understands the important things. Each word is a brushstroke in a portrait of the ideal daughter, the daughter who followed the path laid out for her, the daughter who chose stability and tradition. She pauses, her eyes scanning the room again. They linger on me for just a fraction of a second longer this time, before sweeping away. It's not a glare, not a frown. It's worse. It's the look you give a piece of furniture you've grown accustomed to, a part of the room but not something you truly see anymore. Then her gaze settles back on Sarah, her expression softening into pure adoration. As a mother, all you ever want is for your children to find happiness, to build a good life, a life you can be proud of. She smiles, a warm, inclusive smile directed at Sarah and Thomas. And looking at Sarah today, seeing the woman she has become, the wonderful man she has chosen, she takes a breath, letting the emotion fill the space. There is no doubt in my mind. With Sarah, we have a daughter we can truly, unequivocally, be proud of. The words land like small, precise stones. A daughter. Singular. Not my daughters. Not both my daughters. A daughter. The implication hangs in the air, heavy and suffocating. The room erupts in polite applause, a swell of well-wishers celebrating the sentiment. But for me, the sound is muffled, distant. My ears are ringing. The brittle smile on my face cracks, just for a second, before I manage to paste it back on. I clap too, slowly, the sound foreign and hollow. The knot in my stomach is now a hard, burning ball. My throat is tight. I feel exposed, raw. It's not just the public nature of the slight, though that stings. It's the culmination of decades. All the quiet judgments, all the unspoken criticisms, condensed into a single, seemingly innocent sentence, delivered on a day of celebration, amplified by a microphone. She chose this moment. On my sister's happiest day, she found a way to dim my light, to remind everyone and me where I stand. Or where she thinks I stand. The rest of the dinner is a blur of forced smiles and strained conversation. People come up to our table, offering congratulations to Sarah and Thomas, and then turning to me with sympathetic eyes, or worse, that same polite, distant look. Oh, and how are you, dear?
Still working on.
Computers, was it? The casual dismissal stings. Every well-meaning platitude, every question about my life that quickly trails off when the answer isn't a readily understood, conventional milestone, feels like a reinforcement of my mother's words. A daughter we can be proud of. And implicitly, I am not that daughter. I try to eat, but the food tastes like ash. I sip my wine, but it offers no comfort. James talks quietly beside me, making small talk, deflecting questions about what I do with practiced ease, but I can feel his tension, the protective energy radiating from him. He sees the effect this is having. He knows the depth of the cut. He squeezes my hand again under the table, a silent question. Are you okay? What do you need? I look at him, at the steady kindness in his eyes, the quiet strength of his presence. He believes in me. He has always believed in me. More than anyone else. More than my own mother. And in that moment, surrounded by people who see me through a lens of disappointment, I see him, and I see everything we have built together. The late nights, the sacrifices, the relentless pursuit of something we believed in. Something real. Something substantial. Something that, in this world of appearances and expectations, they can't even begin to comprehend. The weight of the years of feeling inadequate, of trying and failing to gain my mother's unqualified approval, presses down. It's a physical weight, a crushing sensation in my chest. It's not just about success or money. It's about validation, about being seen and accepted for who I am. And in that toast, my mother made it clear I am not, and perhaps never will be, the daughter she wanted. The disappointment is a shroud. The feeling of being fundamentally misunderstood, of being a failure in the eyes of the one person whose unconditional love you craved most, is a deep and aching wound. But looking at James, feeling the warmth of his hand, something shifts inside me. The pain is still there, sharp and visceral, but alongside it, a cold, hard resolve begins to form. I've spent my whole life reacting, flinching, trying to minimize the impact of their words, trying to be smaller, less visible, to avoid the pain. But no matter how small I make myself, it still finds me. This time I won't flinch. This time I won't retreat. This time I will stand in my full height. The thought sends a jolt through me, a mix of fear and exhilarating defiance. The dinner is winding down. Coffee is being served. My mother is circulating, accepting compliments on her toast, her face flushed with satisfaction. My sister is laughing, opening cards, basking in the glow of her perfect day. I watch them, a strange detachment washing over me. They exist in their world, a world of curated appearances and conventional triumphs. They have no idea about the world James and I inhabit, the scale of the challenges we've faced, the magnitude of the victories we fought for. The conversation at our table drifts. Someone mentions the tech industry, a passing remark about how quickly things change. My mother, overhearing from a nearby group, drifts over, a benevolent smile on her face. "Oh yes, dear," she says, addressing me but looking at the others. "It must be fascinating, all that computer work." Very modern, the patronizing tone is unmistakable, the faint dismissal hanging in the air like stale perfume. "Still," she continues, turning slightly towards her new son-in-law and his family, "there's something to be said for building something real, something lasting. A family, a strong foundation." She gestures towards Sarah and Thomas. "That's what truly matters, isn't it? Legacy. It's the final straw." The casual way she dismisses my life's work, the implication that what James and I have built isn't real or lasting, that our legacy is somehow less valuable than a conventional marriage and family. The quiet pain hardens into something cold and sharp. My hand tightens on James's. He looks at me, his eyes questioning. I give him a look back, a look that says now, a look that says I'm done hiding, a look that says they have no idea who they're talking to. He understands. A slow, knowing smile spreads across his face, a dangerous glint in his eyes that only I ever see. He straightens in his chair, turning towards my mother and the small group that has gathered. The air shifts, subtly, imperceptibly to everyone but me. The predator's scent on the wind. He is calm, his voice pitched low, but with a clarity that commands attention. "Catherine," James says, his tone polite, conversational. My mother turns to him, surprised he's interjecting. She offers a polite, slightly strained smile. She's never quite known what to make of James. He doesn't fit neatly into her boxes. "It's funny you mention building something real, something lasting," he continues, his gaze steady. "Because we were just talking about that. About legacies." He pauses, letting the words hang in the air. My mother nods, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. What is he doing? He doesn't usually engage like this. My sister is watching now, a curious frown on her face. The small group around them falls silent, listening. James's smile doesn't waver. He looks directly at my mother, his voice still calm, but carrying a new weight, a quiet authority that silences the room more effectively than a tapping fork. "We closed the deal this morning," he says, the words deceptively simple. "Signed the papers just before we left for the wedding." My mother's smile wavers. Sarah leans forward slightly. The air crackles with unspoken questions. "What deal, dear?" my mother asks, a hint of impatience in her voice. James turns slightly, taking my hand in his thumb stroking my knuckles. He looks not just at my mother but at my sister, at the guests who are now openly watching. His gaze includes everyone. "We sold a company," he says. "The one we built." "She built." He gestures to me, his voice filled with quiet pride. "The company we started in our apartment, the one based on all that computer work." He pauses again. The silence is deafening now. My mother's eyes are wide, a flicker of alarm crossing her face. She doesn't know what company he means, what scale he's talking about. Sarah looks bewildered. Then James delivers the line, not with triumph, but with the quiet precision of a surgeon. His voice is clear, steady, carrying to the farthest reaches of the room. "We sold it," he repeats. "To Sterling Corporation." A collective gasp ripples through the room. Sterling Corporation is a titan, a household name, one of the biggest tech conglomerates in the world. My mother's eyes widen further, her face paling. Sarah's jaw drops. The guests murmur, disbelief and astonishment washing over their faces. James continues, his voice still measured, but now there's an undeniable steel beneath the calm. He looks pointedly at my mother. "They paid $300 million. $300 million. The number hangs in the air like a physical object, massive and irrefutable. The temperature in the room seems to drop. My mother freezes, her benevolent smile gone, replaced by an expression of utter shock, disbelief, and something else, a dawning horror. Sarah looks like she might faint. The carefully constructed facade of their world cracks and splinters. $300 million. It wasn't just the money, though the number was staggering. It was the scale of it, the irrefutable proof of what we had built, what I had built with James by my side. It was the culmination of years of relentless work, of believing in something when others didn't. It was the ultimate answer to every patronizing question, every dismissive comment, every implication that my life was less valuable, less successful, less worthy of pride. My mother's face is a mask of disbelief. Her eyes dart between James and me, then back to the crowd, as if searching for confirmation, for a sign that this is some kind of elaborate, cruel joke. But James's expression is serious, unwavering. My own face, I know, is carefully blank, revealing nothing of the storm of emotion raging inside me. The murmurs in the room escalate into a buzzing roar. People are staring, whispering, not about Sarah's perfect wedding anymore, about the $300 million deal, about the daughter they dismissed, the one who was only good for computer work. My sister, Sarah, recovers slightly, her voice a strained whisper. $300 million? Is that real? James nods, his gaze softening slightly as he looks at Sarah. It is. Closed the deal this morning. My mother stumbles back slightly, reaching for the back of a chair as if needing support. Her face is ashen. The triumphant glow is completely extinguished, replaced by shock and, yes, betrayal. She had set the stage, delivered her lines, expected the familiar, predictable outcome, her triumph, my quiet humiliation. And with a single sentence, delivered by my husband, the stage had been ripped out from under her. The spotlight, meant to shine solely on her and her chosen daughter, had swung violently, blindingly, to land squarely on me. The silence returns, a heavy, expectant quiet broken only by the distant sound of music from another part of the club. All eyes are on us. On me. This is not how I ever imagined confronting them, if I ever imagined confronting them at all. It's loud, it's public, and it wasn't even my voice delivering the blow.
But it feels necessary.
A raw, brutal correction to a narrative that has suffocated me for years. My mother finally speaks, her voice trembling, barely a whisper. But you never said, you never told us. I look at her then, meeting her gaze directly for the first time all night. My voice is quiet, steady, cutting through the silence. You never asked, I say. It's not accusatory, just a simple statement of fact. We built this life, this success, in the quiet spaces they never bothered to look. They judged me based on their own narrow definitions, never curious enough to see what lay beyond. The feeling isn't triumph, not really. Not the pure, unadulterated joy you might expect from such a public vindication. It's colder, more complex. There's a quiet satisfaction, yes, a deep, resonant feeling of being seen, finally, on my own terms. But there's also a profound sadness. Sadness that it took this. Sadness that this is the language they finally understand. Sadness that the distance between us is now wider than the space between tables, wider even than the chasm of $300 million. The rest of the evening is surreal. The energy of the room shifts dramatically. People who barely made eye contact before are now approaching us, faces wreathed in smiles, offering fervent congratulations. The conversations are different. No more condescension, no more pity. It's all awe, curiosity, respect. My mother is surrounded by a small, awkward group, her face still pale, trying to regain some semblance of control, but the air has gone out of her performance. My sister, bless her heart, tries to look happy for me, but her eyes are wide with shock, glancing nervously at her new husband's family. The focus of the wedding has irrevocably shifted. We leave early. The congratulatory murmurs follow us out. The cool night air on my face is a relief. Getting into the car with James feels like escaping a pressurized cabin. The silence inside the car is comfortable, heavy with unspoken understanding. James drives, his profile illuminated by the passing streetlights. He reaches for my hand, squeezing it gently. Are you okay? He asks again, his voice soft. I take a shaky breath. Okay? What does okay even mean right now? I feel drained, emotionally raw, but also a lighter. Like a weight I didn't realize I was carrying has been lifted. The need for their approval, the constant quiet ache of not being enough, it's still there, but it feels smaller now, somehow less potent. It lost its power in the glare of that reveal. I don't know. I say honestly. It hurts that it had to be like that. That they only see this, I gesture vaguely, meaning the money, the success. But I also feel like I can finally breathe. He nods, understanding. You earned this, he says. Every single penny. And you earned the right to be seen for exactly who you are. Not for who they wanted you to be. We drive in silence for a while longer, the city lights blurring past. The victory feels hollow, in some ways. You can't buy your mother's love, or erase years of feeling second best with a number, no matter how large. But you can redraw the boundaries. You can change the conversation. You can, finally, stand in your own light, even if it blinds the people who preferred to keep you in the shadows. The sting of the toast is still fresh, the memory of my mother's words, a daughter we can be proud of, playing on a loop. But now, there's a counterpoint. A silent, resounding echo. And you are. Not because of the money or the acquisition, but because I stayed true to myself. Because I built something real, something lasting, not just a company but a life on my own terms. The legacy isn't just in the business I sold. It's in the quiet strength it took to stand there tonight, and the colder strength it took to let the truth shatter the carefully constructed peace. The drive home is the beginning of something new. The family dynamics are irrevocably changed. The phone calls will come, the awkward attempts to bridge the sudden, vast distance. My mother will try to understand, or perhaps just try to assimilate this new reality into her existing worldview. My sister will navigate her own feelings, the shifting sands of sibling comparison. But for me, the battle feels, for the first time, truly won. Not in a shout, but in a quiet, irrefutable fact. The air in the car is calm now. The tension of the evening begins to dissipate. We are home, together, ready to face whatever comes next, on our own terms. The quiet strength James gives me is more valuable than any acquisition. The feeling of finally being seen, finally being free from the need to prove anything to anyone, is worth more than $300 million. It's priceless. If you've ever felt overlooked or misunderstood, or like you had to fight just to be seen, I'd love to hear your version. Drop a comment below with where you're listening from and what time it is. And if you found a connection in this story, subscribing helps me bring more of these experiences to life. Thank you for being here.